Hey everybody, I'm John Kormanik, the CEO and head coach at John R. Kormanik Coaching. I'm also the author of Break the Law, a story of a reclaimed legal career and a reclaimed life. We're here. We're going to talk about beyond goal setting. Everyone knows to set goals. What I'm going to talk about today is the precursor to goal setting, the thing that will set you up for your ultimate success in achieving those goals. So let's dive right in. We've got 25 minutes. We've got a total of 6 slides. We're going to talk about the criticality of casting a vision before setting your goals. We're also going to then discuss the 3 keys to casting your vision, right? It's not enough to just know that you need to do it. There are 3 keys to casting it and doing it appropriately, doing it in a big way, doing it in a motivating way, doing it in a way that not only allows you to achieve your goals, but your goals become inevitable. They will be achieved. And it's a way to make sure you're at the top of the right ladder. In other words, you're setting the correct goals for yourself and for your vision for the future. Then we're going to identify your action step. What actions are you going to take based on the knowledge that you gain here today? Because knowledge without action is worthless. And finally, we're going to wrap it up. So let's dive in. A vision is critical for goal achievement. I mentioned the ladder. You have to make sure that you're setting the goals so that when you get to the top of the ladder, you don't look around and say, oh, I'm at the top of the wrong ladder. I don't want to be over here. I want to be over there. When we just dive into goal setting, when we just really oftentimes follow the herd, well, I want to set a goal of X increase in gross revenue. I want to set a goal of having X number of new locations. I want to set a goal of having Y number of new clients. You know what the goals are, the metrics that you set for your law firm and for your success. Setting a vision, casting a vision is going to provide you direction for those goals. Do you actually want more clients, or do you want better high paying clients? Do you really want to grow your gross revenue and asterisk and decrease your take home? Your profit, your pay, or do you want to grow in a different way? Why are you growing? I'll never forget the conversation that I had with a tax partner in a mid-sized law firm in Florida. He contacted me, and the first thing he said was, John, I want to grow my book of business. Can you help me with that? Of course, I can help you with growing your book of business. Of course, I can. But I have one question for you. Why? Why do you want to do that? And the response was, well, that's what we do as lawyers. We continuously grow our book of business. Of course, it results in more money to us. Oh, okay. Why do you want to make more money? What's the point? Because I'm here to tell you the point of your law practice is not money. It's not. It can't be. And here's why I say that, because you could make just as good a living and have a greatly reduced stress level doing something else. I know this. You're a highly educated person. I know. And so unless you have that direction, well, I want to grow my book of business because fill in the blank. Or I want to have more clients because, or whatever your goals are. Why? Why? Does it support the life that you want to have? If it doesn't, then why are you setting the goal? So this is what I'm talking about here, right? Why a vision is critical to goal achievement. That's number one. Number two, that vision triggers your natural ability to engage your grit. Grit is passion plus perseverance over time to achieve a goal. Grit is something that lawyers have. We don't get through law school without it. We don't pass the bar without it. We don't practice without grit. So, having that longer term vision, that 3 years out, what do I want in 3 years? What do I want my life to look like? What do I want my practice to look like 3 years out? I ask potential clients, I ask anybody who I communicate with all the time, hey, what needs to happen in the next 3 years for you to feel successful both personally and professionally? That 3 year horizon's a nice way to start. It's a beginning. When we have that, it triggers our passion because we're going to get to the goal if we're passionate about it. If we're not passionate about it, then it's a flavor of the month and we're just going to kind of move on and not do it and not complete it and not feel good about ourselves and all the things that we often do. We start and we don't finish because we're not passionate. There's a disconnect. It's not because you're not gritty. It's not because you can't do hard things. It's because you're not passionate. So, setting a vision provides direction and it triggers grit. Finally, it ensures alignment. I've touched on this a couple times already today. When you're climbing your ladder, whatever that ladder looks like, whatever it looks like, and you're engaging your grit and you're doing the hard things and you're working and you're playing and you're building relationships and you're doing all this stuff and you get to the top and you look around and you say, I'm at the top of the wrong ladder. I want to be over there. So you ensure when you set your vision, you ensure alignment with what you want your future to be. And the goals that you create and you execute on are in alignment with that. They have to be. If they're not in alignment, there's going to be this disconnect and you're going to stumble with goal achievement. You're going to question why it is that you set the goal in the first place. You're going to come up with excuses. My mom used to say, John, actually, when she was really talking to me this way, it was John Robert, using my middle name as well. John Robert, there are reasons and there are excuses. Make sure you know the difference. Make sure you know the difference between the reasons and the excuses of why you're not achieving your goals. A vision, when you cast a vision and then you chunk it down to the goals that you need to achieve to make that vision possible, you're going to be in alignment and you're less likely to have excuses for not achieving the goals. Let's talk about the three keys to casting your vision. These keys are really important, they are critical. You will hear out there in the world that when you're casting a vision, when you're writing a vision, you have to write it as your future self. For the longest time, I did not understand what that actually meant. When I was practicing law, when I began to do this work, which was not at the start of my legal career, it was not at the start of when myself and two of my friends opened our law firm. It wasn't then. Things would have been much different had it been. Smoother seas, more alignment, it would have been much different, but it wasn't at the start. It came later to me. That's why I'm sharing it with you because I suffered. I suffered the pains of not doing this step, this precursor, this condition precedent, to borrow from my legal brain, to robust and outstanding goal achievement. I didn't do it at the start. And I didn't understand what writing as your future self meant. Here's where my clients get tripped up here. My clients think that writing as my future self or their future self simply means they're older. So for me, if I was writing my vision today, I would then be 64 years old instead of 61. That's not it. That is not writing as your future self. That's writing as your current self, just older. So let's just kind of talk briefly about writing as your future self. What does that mean? Here's how I have clients do it. And I'm happy to share this with you because it's really important. And if you can take this tool when you're writing your future vision, take it, use it, leverage it, succeed. That's what I'm all about. Writing as your future self. Here's an exercise that I have them go through, not looking forward, because forward is hard, challenging, scary, but looking backwards. And so, what I have them do is I have them do an exercise, a thought exercise of, you know, over the past 5 years, what knowledge have I gained? And start writing. They write a list. It's freehand, it's free flowing. They can do it by pen, which I prefer pen and paper, simply because it affects our brain differently than typing on a keyboard. But write, what knowledge have you gained over the past 5 years? What do you know now that you didn't know then? Then we jump to the second step, which is what experience do you have that you didn't have 5 years ago? What what experiences have you had that have affected you as a person, that have changed you? Whether you know it or not, whether you recognize it or not, they have changed you, they have impacted you, they have influenced you. What experiences over the last 5 years? Again, write them all down. Travel to another country, uh, different type of trial, leveraging networking, been to conferences, whatever it is, whatever those experiences are. So, knowledge and experiences. And then the third thing that I have them look back and think about over the past 5 years is the skills that they have gained, right? What skills do you now possess that you either didn't have at all 5 years ago, or that you had, but they weren't as robust as they are now? What skills? We do that exercise and we sometimes do it together. Sometimes it's a homework assignment or it's a home play assignment, right? They get to do it on their own because it, I want them to invest some time in it. And then when we come back together, then we start thinking about future self. Okay, so for your future self, it's not just you 3 years from now. You're going to have a different skill set than you have today. What skill set do you need to develop to make big things come true for you? You're going to have different knowledge. What are you going to learn? What do you want to learn over the next 3 years to make that future that you're writing about possible? And then what experiences do you have? What experiences do you have? Will you have? Do you want to have over the next 3 years? That is writing as your future self. It's not just you simply 3 years older. You are a different person 3 years from now. You have to be. You don't have any choice about it. That's how life works. So, three keys to casting your vision. That's number one. Write it as your future self, not just your older self, your future self. Number two, ruffle some feathers. Be big. Scare yourself. There's no point to it, right? There's a saying out there, right? The future, your future is a blank page. Write what you want. It is true. We don't embrace that enough. We have this autonomy, and autonomy is not automatic. We have to engage in it. We have to we have to put it on and use it. Ruffle your some feathers, even your own. People should look at your vision and say, "You're nuts. That's not possible. 3 years is not a long enough time. You can't get there from here. How are you gonna do that?" All those things that people are gonna say, you're gonna say as well as you're casting your vision. Quiet that voice. Quiet it. It's there to keep you safe. It's there to maintain the status quo. You are not someone who is going to want to maintain the status quo. You're not. You're listening to this presentation. You're not someone who wants to maintain the status quo. Recognize that that voice is going to be there, and then go past it. Say, I appreciate you, but this is what I'm saying. This is what I want. Ruffle some feathers. External people should say, no way. You yourself should say, no, that's a little scary. And number three is be brave, right? I have this conversation a lot with folks. There's a difference between bravery and fearlessness. Fearlessness is you don't feel the fear. As attorneys and in the space of risk aversion, we are a bit fearful, right? We avoid risk. So that is a factor of fear. We avoid it. So it is not it's not reasonable. I'm just gonna come out and say it. It's not reasonable to be fearless all the time. You can be fearless in some areas and not in others. But the difference between bravery and fearlessness is you don't feel the fear. Bravery is you move forward in spite of the fear. You continue to move forward. So when you're casting your vision, be brave. It's going to be uncomfortable. Push through that discomfort, right? I'll never forget, and I don't think my client will ever forget because they've told me they're probably never going to forget it. A conversation that I had. I had a conversation with a returning client. They had gone away after coaching, right? Coaching has a beginning, middle, and an end. They had gone away to practice the skills and the mindset that they had developed in coaching with me, which is great. I love that. And then they came back. And I was e- evaluating whether or not we were going to team up as they were. And so I asked them what their vision was, what their goals were. And when they got done talking about it, I said, um, why so small? Why are you thinking so small? And in ordinary parlance, they weren't thinking small. In my world, in the world of the clients that I work with, they were. And they were taken aback. This is not small. This is X percent or whatever, right? I, it's small. I'm telling you, it's small. Why are you thinking small? And it got them to think, you know what? I'm not a person who thinks small. And I think maybe he's right. Right. I think maybe he's right. If it's comfortable, if you have a high degree of certainty that the future that you are envisioning is going to happen, it's not big enough. It's not big enough. You have to challenge yourself. We'll go back to that passion and perseverance over time, that grit. It's got to be challenging for you. It's got to pull you in. It's got to suck you in for that grit skill to come to the surface. So be brave. Three keys to casting your vision. Write it as your future self, not just older. Skills, knowledge, and experience are going to be different. Ruffle some feathers, even your own, and be brave. Be brave when you do it. Let's talk about action steps that you can institute when you walk away from this presentation. First, block 4 hours of time. Just block 4 hours of your day. It is an investment. I have talked about the $400,000 minute. If you haven't seen the video, go to my YouTube. If you haven't read the blog, go to my website, read the blog. This is $400,000 a minute work. Block 4 hours of your time. Go off site. Don't do it in your office. Go somewhere else. You can go to a park. You can go to a coffee shop. You can go, I just did my most recent vision at a coffee shop. You can go wherever. Just don't do it where you normally are. The change in environment is super important for you. As we've talked about, list the knowledge, skills, and experience you've gained over the last 5 years. Consider a 3 year time horizon. Write that date on the top. You know, January 14th, 2028. Think big. What do you want personally and professionally? You can make two columns. You don't have to make two columns. You can do it as a mind map. You can do it however you want, whatever, however works for you. And write until you've got nothing left, until you've exhausted it. You're going to want to get up and walk away because it's going to be a bit scary for you. Like I said, right? Oh, I don't know how to do it. Oh, it's not possible. You're going to have the voice in your head, that self talk. All of that's going to come into play. The flow, the neuroscience of flow and the four phases of flow, right? Struggle, release, flow, recovery. Don't walk away when you struggle. Go to exhaustion and see what your vision is because it can and will drive the goals that you have set. If you've already set goals, it's okay. Do this work without those goals in mind. Do not think about them. Do not bring them with you. Hey, this is the vision I have to have because I've already set these goals. Don't do that. It's not a way to success. It's not a way to achieve your full potential. Go and do it and then evaluate. How are these goals moving me towards that vision that I've casted or cast? How, do they? If they do, great. If they don't, then you have some evaluation to do. You have some evaluation to do. Block 4 hours of your time. Go off site with a pad and pen. Again, the science tells us that writing things by hand, even if your penmanship is atrocious like mine after being in the medical field for 10 years, still write things out. It helps cement them in your head. List the knowledge, skills, and experience you've gained over the past 5 years. Write as your future self. Consider a 3 year time horizon. 3 years is not that long. Consider a 3 year time horizon. When you come and work with me, we do a 10-year time horizon. What do you want your life to look like? And we work on that because as a guide, I can help you lean into that space. 3 years for this self work is enough. Think big and write until you've got nothing left. Alice asks, would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go from here? The Cheshire Cat responds, that depends a good deal on where you want to get to. Alice, I don't much care where, the Cheshire Cat, then it doesn't matter which way you go. Alice, so long as I get somewhere, the Cheshire Cat. Oh, you're sure to do that if you only walk long enough. Goal setting without a vision is this. This is it in a nutshell. If you're setting goals without a vision, you are Alice. You're going to get there wherever there is. Wherever there is. And you're going to look around and you're going to wonder why you got there. You're going to wonder how you got there. And you're going to maybe question whether or not it's the right place for you. Don't be Alice. Define where it is that you want to go. Cast your vision. Goals are important. Having a vision is critical. A vision ensures you define the destination because the destination is what it's all about. You have to define the destination. Otherwise, the goals may not be in alignment and you may not get to where it is that you want to go. You may succumb to the what everybody else says is success, and it doesn't feel like success for you. You have the ability to define your own game, set your own vision, create your goals, and achieve them. If you want to learn more about how coaching with me can empower you to cast an exciting vision, something that pulls in your natural grit and empowers goal achievement, send me a message on LinkedIn, go to my website, johnrkormanik.com, book a 30-minute discovery session. That's why I do these things, so that you can have knowledge. If you want to reach out, fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. We are at time. It is a pleasure. This is number 12, 24, 25 of the monthly series that I started two plus years ago, actually. And I'm so glad to still be here. I'm so glad to still be doing it. I will see you next month with a brand new, engaging, and useful topic. Take care. Be well.